I think it's time to blow this scene. Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
There it is.
I
Hello,
love that
everyone.
opening.
Me too. It's one of my favorites. Like, what? It's really Tank. Tank is just a good song. I don't care if we get dinged for copyright every time.
It's just a great opening theme song.
Yeah. It's got great visuals too, I think. So, well done, Clay.
All right.
You can see we're all very excited to get into the main topic. This is no, but this is gonna be a shorter live episode. Unfortunately, we got some stuff to do later on, but I think as you guys saw on the channel, there was no review for episode 6 of Secret Invasion, and that's because I figured, well, let's just talk about the whole thing on the next live stream. You'll get many perspectives. You know, Clay has his own opinion. Kyle didn't watch the show, so that'll be another interesting.
I've been in and out of watching clips on YouTube. It's one of those things where I don't know. This is everyone has confirmed my thing. Is like this is a show you kind of got to be in the right mental attitude to want to watch.
Yeah.
Yep. What would it have taken for you to pull you in to watch every week? A character or something? Anything that would have made you more interested?
Maybe this was so. And it's not. I'm not even going to sit there and say it's because it was the espionage and it kind of. That is this. I think this is just because it was more just Nick Fury in general. And I'm like, no offense to Samuel L. Jackson, but like, I mean, I'm not watching the Marvel stuff because of Nick Fury. It was never my favorite character. So,
See, I love Nick Fury, and I feel like this show should have just been called Nick Fury. And I think Daniel had the better idea of Nick Fury's Secret War.
There you go.
That's the perfect name for this because this is when was the invasion? First of all, because there was I just really was kind of just frustrated with the fact that there was nothing like the comic, and they just used the title and
the scrolls.
But they tried to make it a spy thriller, like Winter Soldier, and just never executed. It never happened. The way they used the scrolls was really poor because they would always the reveal and who is and who isn't was always like in the same episode.
Yeah. And that's the thing is when we're going to compare it to the comic book, and the comic book, this Secret Invasion was basically not just who in the world they take over, what superheroes they take over. It was like, it's like which superhero was real,
Yeah.
Iron Man, Wolverine, Spider-Man. It's like we didn't get any of that. The only person that was really in there to see like, oh, is he technically was he a Skrull? Not was Roddy, and
I almost wish there's a really cool plot line in the comic where the Skrulls make Tony think that he's a Skrull even though he's not. Like if they had tried to plant that seed of doubt in Nick Fury, like I wonder what lengths he would have gone to prove to himself that he wasn't a Skrull that was brainwashed.
Perfect. I love that.
Yeah. Now before we do get into the full review and spoilers and all that, just want to remind everyone. Oh, whoa, whoops. Wrong one. It was supposed to be in the front. Give me a second. I was just going to bring up the writer's strike. Like, that's still going on. So that's why we're only doing stuff after the fact. Like, this is just a review. It's not, we're not promoting the show or anything. So you'll see that on a lot of our reviews.
Definitely not promoting the show.
God, even you know what? Yeah, even if it was better, yeah.
I mean, like I could talk about some shows that vary from the original content, Moon Knight specifically, but I go back and rewatch Moon Knight over and over again. I love it. I love what they did.
Mhm.
I love how everything worked in there. I even Ethan Hawke as a villain who wasn't that big of a villain in the comics really works for me.
Yeah.
But this it had just a bunch of nonsense. I mean, let's first talk about the opening that was done with AI. That made everyone uncomfortable because it was like, oh, okay, so now they're already going to start using it, and it's always the first person to start using it, then other studios will start to use it too. That's the interesting part, is because like I was talking about Ghostbusters Afterlife and how they used Harold Ramis's likeness after his death, and I'm not sure, whether he signed some sort of digital rights access to him. Then the next movie will be, and I really feel like we're going to see Paul Walker return in the Fast and Furious movies. Like that kind of the digital entertainment from non-human people, like AI, dead people. It's going to come down to CGI artists who can do it, or AI who can just create what they want.
Well, no, I mean, I've only seen it because I haven't watched the film yet, but I mean, I've seen a good chunk of clips off of YouTube. Is like the Flash movie when Barry goes into the multiverse and you've seen Christopher Reeve and Helen Slater as Superman and Supergirl right there, and I'm like, well, Christopher Reeve can't say no, you can't use my likeness. Helen Slater could have said something if she wanted, but still.
Exactly. And they even had brought back Captain Boomerang, so Jack Courtney, it shows up in that digital. So I'm assuming that everyone who signed a DC contract, that Warner Brothers has access to their digital likeness.
And the whole thing with Harold Ramis, I mean, his son directed that last Ghostbusters film, didn't he? So he had maybe said
no, it was Jason Reitman, Ivan Reitman.
You're right. I'm not right. You're right. Reitman, not Ramis.
Yeah, but Harold Ramis does have a daughter who wrote a book about him. My Father's a Ghostbuster. It's a great book. You learn a lot about him. It's one of my favorites. I'm a huge Harold Ramis fan. Can't recommend him enough. But what if AI starts writing scripts? They did it.
It already is. It already is. I mean, that's the thing. That's why we have the strike going on.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to come down to the choice of if people tune in to AI created entertainment, and if Disney leads the charge, we're kind of fucked, man. Well, because they have such a huge block of the market.
Podcast I was listening to was basically saying, before the actors went on strike, they were saying how, like, I can't remember, it was one of the main, I don't think it was ABC, but I think it was either NBC or CBS, but they announced their lineup for the fall, and the whole fucking lineup is nothing but reality shows.
Yep. That's it. We're about to just get back into it. It's the early 2000s all over again after that strike. But, but as far as back to Secret Invasion, like the AI opening was weird because where did they pull that art from?
So I did look into that. There was, they hired a company. That company generated its own art. Like it is all
in-house art.
They're not grabbing anybody's art, like, without their consent. Now,
so they say.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, they're reporting. Now, what they're saying is that because a lot of comic artists and all this art that they create for comics already belongs to Disney, like maybe they could have used some of that stuff to feed the machine. I don't know how it works. I don't know enough about AI or the contracts that the artists have and all this stuff. I don't know. I feel like it was the opening is an interesting concept that, like, it's just not refined enough to really say what they think. I know the director talked about, like, well, we wanted to evoke this feeling of, like, the invasion and stuff. And I get that. I just feel like, I don't know, like, other shows have such great openings and, like, that it makes it, like, weird. Leonard Kim in the chat, while I'm on the anti-AA train, I'm not opposed to the opening sequence. I appreciate what they were trying to accomplish. I think it was an interesting idea.
It's just if you give an inch, they're going to take a mile.
Yeah. Also, like, kind of read the room, right? Like, you're fighting for your jobs, you're fighting for livelihood. Like, people are fighting for their livelihoods. And I know this was before the actor strike, but I think it was after the writer strike had already, like, AI has been a hot topic for a long time now.
Yeah, I mean,
artists and all that. So Like, just kind of read the room, buddy.
I know, and it would have been like if they had followed the comic, you know, it would have been neat to see intros that were like trying to integrate Skrulls into society the way the
like
comics did.
Well, like
you know,
those ads in the back of the issues when we just recently reread Secret Invasion for the comic club. Like every issue in the back had a poster, like propaganda, like Skrull propaganda. I'll try to pull some up.
Yeah, they're fantastic. I mean, it was, and I think it came out the same time Lost did. The way Lost integrated like some commercials to be part of the show, Marvel had created these ads to be part of the comic that just added more to it, and it was just, and it's just a different book altogether. I mean, this is a small thriller, a spy thriller, and the comic is I would say the comic is on the level of Infinity War and Endgame because you have so many superheroes and you don't know who's a Skrull, and you see different versions of them. Like you see a young Wolverine costume and an old Wolverine costume.
Well, not even that. One of the biggest key things about the Skrull, the original Secret Invasion, was you had the Queen Skrull too. This is just now. This is the whole big difference because the Skrull homeworld's been destroyed. They were originally introduced as friendly aliens because Fury is trying to help them find a new planet, and now they're like, we're tired of this. So like, this one guy who's a general is going to start taking over, and it's like there was nothing like this huge plan of we're going to, you know. In the original book, they captured the Illuminati, took DNA samples from each of them because one was a mutant, one was an inhuman, one was an Atlantean, and then they started building. And this has been happening since technically the 70s. They showed like in Marvel, so it's like a long time.
Yeah, it was cool that little machine that I guess Maria Hill was carrying around. Was it Maria Hill?
Oh, and what a throwaway her death was.
Oh yeah, I know Kobe Smulders was probably done with the MCU, but like
when I mean, there's so much rich stories with Maria Hill and Nick Fury that could have been done other than this, and putting those two together, who at times have been at odds, but it's like, who thinks who's doing the best for the world is where they sit. And sometimes she questions for Fury. She does in the Avengers.
Yeah. I did think it was a good moment. And one thing I'll say about the show, and I guess we're gonna get into spoilers. So
here's one for you. Do you think by any chance that maybe her death might not be actual death? I mean, Fury did it in Winter Soldier. You think we might
start dying so many times and not changing into a Skrull?
Yeah, I was actually thinking about Winter Soldier and saying, that would have been the point where they said, Nick, you've always been a Skrull since you died in Winter Soldier. Like, bring him back to that moment and make him question everything, because the blip messed him up, but they didn't really get into that as much. And it was like that was supposed to be the big thing, is like he was trying to work his shit out because the blip was something out of his control that he couldn't do anything about, and it's like he's now gone beyond his abilities as head of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Well, not even that. Like, they even proved it. The fact, like, they didn't really an article I was reading, but they didn't really retcon it. But the fact, like, he's technically he's the main villain when you think about it, because he collected all the DNA from all the Marvel superheroes when they fought Thanos. And I'm like going, why would you fucking do this?
Because Nick Fury is always holding those cards close. And that's the thing, is like, you have to trust that he's doing the right thing. But remember, Maria Hill questioned him when he took those bloody cards, and she goes, I know those cards were in Coulson's locker. And he goes, sometimes they needed a push, and he bloodied them to show like, hey, do it for Coulson.
Oh yeah, Nick Fury is definitely no saint. I just want to pull this up real quick.
He's the guy who has to make the bad decisions. Yeah.
These are the in the back of the issues, they have like the little propaganda posters of every issue. I think this was my favorite. There's a bunch. Like, there's one of a kid, like a Skrull kid playing baseball and hands embracing and stuff. So, but I was
technically, if you think about this, even before we had Secret Invasion, Marvel's been sort of doing this since like the mid 80s. I mean, let's go back to Fantastic Four. Alicia Masters being taken and being replaced by Lila, who the Human Torch ended up marrying.
Yeah, like, look, this is a panel from, like, this is a page from the comic. Like,
just you get nothing to that level on the show.
I know.
Look at the level, and look, I understand that they probably can't get all these people or whatever, but like, I feel like Marvel
give me 30. Give me one new one. Give me two others, and make them all 3 Skrulls. Like
Yeah.
really fuck us up by the end of the show, because that's the thing, is you're supposed to be questioning who's who, and we don't.
Well, here, Marvel did it once before, and this is before the acquisition of Disney for Marvel. Do you guys remember Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes?
Yeah.
They did it in there, where you had Captain America, where he comes and changes into his ultimate costume in season 2, but you realize he's a Skrull, and they did it for 2/3 of that second season, and it came out so much better than this shit.
I was waiting for them to undo the Maria Hill, and she was going to be part of the finale. We were going to have some big spy twist, and all we got was Nick Fury leaving with his wife, who's a Skrull, which was like, I loved their engagement. I loved their dialogue. I loved them pulling guns on each other. But in the end, what was the purpose of her being a Skrull and just changing? Like Nick Fury knew she was a Skrull. She's a Skrull, and then she only changes to be his wife in front of him. Like she's not comfortable in her own skin. I think that was always hinted at. But it's but the biggest plot hole for me is the Nick Fury Maria Hill killing.
This is what I was waiting for an LMD.
Yes.
Like
that's what I really thought it was.
Yeah, and like you can have it, even if Kobe Smulders doesn't want to come back to the MCU, like just leave the character in the background. You don't have to, like, she is a spy. She shouldn't be out and doing. She doesn't need to show up in everything. Yeah, you know. But
what I wanted to talk about was Nick Fury shooting Maria Hill, that they had that encounter, that they altered the video to make it look like him. They're an army of Skrulls who can shapeshift into anyone.
No, Gravik shapeshifted into Fury, shot Maria. That's
but the video showed Jackson Fury in front of her. Yeah. In front of her, and she's shot from behind, right?
No. She turns around, sees Fury, but it's Gravik, and then she gets shot.
Okay. She didn't shoot. I thought that was like, and now we have this video. Yeah. Okay. See, that's how I would get bored and just kind of.
I mean,
and that was the big action piece. That was the big action piece of this whole show.
Yeah, that's because I was trying to look for the runtimes of the episodes. I think the first one was pretty long, and then everything else was about 30 minutes or so.
Well, I'm gonna throw out some heroes here, but this is what I was kind of confused by, because in the TV series we got Dermot Mulroney, president of the United States. And you know this is going to lead into the new Captain America film, where Thunderbolt is the new president of the United States. So at what point is that going to change?
So one thing I saw online was that at the end of the show, the president, because of everything that happened, like he goes on a very, I guess it's racist or xenophobic against the aliens rant, like kill them all or whatever. Like, and Fury told him, like, well, enjoy your one term of being president. So I think they're gonna, in between this and the next movie, he'll have lost the election to a decorated war hero, which, because we are moving into maybe a time of war.
Well, yeah, but the next film is Marvels. I mean, they already said this is going to lead into Marvels.
Oh, is Armor Wars not happening?
It is no. So Armor Wars
is going to be after that
movie. And then also Captain America.
Brave New World.
It's not called New World Order anymore.
Brave New World.
Brave New World. That's also that's I mean, that's where the president storyline will follow up, because that's where Harrison Ford shown up. But here's one thing. My main complaint about the show, because like I said, I think overall I enjoyed it. If you go back and look at my reviews weekly, like I was enjoying the show overall. But then on the last week, where you're trying to build all this tension, what's going to happen to Nick Fury? You drop a trailer for the Marvels showing me that Nick Fury is fine and he's back up in Sword, or whatever it's called. Yeah, like Spear or whatever. Like, why? Why couldn't you wait a week till the finale and then showed me the trailer? Especially now that I believe the movie's delayed. I don't know. Everything's kind of getting delayed and they're pushing movies back. Like, why would you tell me that? It's kind of like what the comics does it, and spoilers for the current X-Men stuff and Kamala Khan. She just died in Amazing Spider-Man. And then a week later, they drop a cover where she's back at the wedding for Tony and Emma. Like, she's at the wedding.
Well,
and then like a week later, they're like, oh yeah, she's coming back.
Wait, have you read the newest Hellfire Gala?
Oh God.
it has a Howard the Duck cover, and Aaron said he goes, "I'm holding it for you, but you're not even ready for the story."
Dude,
No,
yeah,
I read it already.
We'll talk about it. Let's talk about it next week once Clay
Yeah.
gets a chance to read
Yeah.
it, because that book really is worth the $8. A lot of the time I don't think they are. This one is.
Bucks for a fucking gala
Well,
book.
it's 80 pages long.
It
and
goes.
got,
No,
like,
it's heavy. It's heavy.
yeah, it's 80 pages, and it's
And-
got like 10 or 15 different artists on
And
it.
I'm
So,
actually
like,
kind of happy about it because this may be doing what I've been saying I
I
want
think,
to do again.
yeah. So we'll see, but we'll talk about
Okay.
that next week. So if you're watching,
Yeah,
go
please.
read
I'm
Hellfire
gonna
Gala.
guess this is the beginning of the fall of X.
Yes. But there's so much more, Clay. There's so much more.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I just read Nightcrawlers, and so that gave me some of the Sins of Sinister stuff, and then I guess that may lead into the new Kurt Wagner Spider-Man book,
Wait, what? What?
Yeah, the Uncanny Spider-Man.
Uncanny Spider-Man. You haven't seen the ads yet?
No.
Oh,
Yeah, Nightcrawler is gonna be Spider-Man, or he's gonna be a Spider-Man.
EA Spider-Man.
Fuck. Okay. Marvel. Fuck you.
You know what?
Yeah, right.
I just to get us off a movie and back into comics, Nightcrawlers was really awesome. It makes me want to go back and reread a bunch of the X-Men stuff because the sci-fi concepts that are in it are really good. Because Sinister has taken clones of Moira McTaggart and made save points in time with her clones. And so Kurt has taken his DNA and started to mix it with other mutants' DNA. So you have a Nightcrawler Colossus variant. You have a Nightcrawler Wolverine variant. You have
He's
a
pretty much
Nightcrawler Rogue
making, like,
variant.
chimeras of like the X-Men.
Yeah, and it's so cool to see because, like, well, they have funny names. Like the Wolverine hybrid is called Wagnerine, and but the comic's only 3 issues, and it takes place 1 year, 10 years, and 100 years in the future.
Yeah.
And this has been a recent book that's been released.
It's a part of the Sins of Sinister stuff. So
Okay,
like they made like I think 4 little miniseries to go along with that.
I would
And
also-
it was explained enough in the comic that I didn't have to go
Yeah.
back and read Sins of Sinister.
You
because I
could
wasn't-
read Sins of Sinister Alpha, which explain like kind of sets everything up, and then you can pick whatever series you want to read, and then
I
read
just
the
want
Omega,
Nightcrawler. That's all I want to
and then read the Omega. Well, there's the Nightcrawler series, but I think he's also in another one. Anyway,
Okay.
it's interesting. I think overall I really enjoyed that stuff. But I know you haven't enjoyed the Krakoa era as much, but I think there's parts of it that
Well,
are really interesting.
I will give.
Oh yeah,
I'll give small credit where credit's due. There have been small things here and there. It's just the overall umbrella of the Krakoa and X-Men
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
I'm done. But there's been small
Yeah.
things on occasion that I'm like, okay, that's kind of interesting.
But
I love the concept of Nightcrawler creating a new religion because they find that they're immortal, and what
Yeah.
mutants mean and what is religion to them. That's just kind of a fascinating piece to
Well,
it.
yeah, coming from the one mutant who almost became a Catholic priest, it can only be messing with his head, it's-
Right.
And
Totally
he's
very
died and gone to heaven or gone to the afterlife and come back.
Before they could
Before.
resurrect.
Yeah. So
Right.
to me, it's like, so you've been to the afterlife, it exists, but now that you're immortal, you're going to come up with a religion based on that.
So, anyways, back to Secret Invasion.
Yes.
So they kind of they did the same thing they do in the comics all the time. Remember in 2015 when Secret War, Jonathan Hickman's Secret War was going on, it was delayed so much that the Iron Man book came out before the last issue came out. So like Marvel just can't help themselves to like
No, they
spoil the tension.
just did it recently this week where basically the newest Avengers has Tony in his new stealth armor, but if you go and read the current Iron Man, it's before he creates his stealth armor. So again, they're jumping the gun and all that shit.
I need to read both of those this week, then.
That's Jed McKay's
Yeah. Now,
Avengers.
I think in comics it's a little understandable because delays happen and stuff.
Well, and especially when you're trying to do it, like it's again the newest Avengers, the newest Iron Man are all tied into the Iron Man Sentinels. What's going on? They're doing their next big event, but Krakoa is affecting other books in the Marvel.
By the way, if you're not reading Invincible Iron Man, Gary Duggan is fucking killing it on that run.
Yeah.
It's really good, and he's also doing the X-Men stuff for Fall of X. I think that's why it's moving in a different direction because he's kind of helming that. But anyways, I understand how that happens in comics, but how does this happen on TV? Like where you have all the planning so much far in advance, like marketing real. I just think they really fucked it up.
Because
And
it's Disney because of it's because of the strikes. They're worried about the strikes, so they're trying to
Yeah.
get any advertising out there to keep people watching.
but that trailer, I haven't even seen the trailer for the Marvels, the latest one.
I have.
I guess not having to do a video on it really relieves me of any duty of having to watch all these trailers.
Yeah, you get to
But-
be surprised in the
Yeah,
theater.
yeah. That's why I didn't watch it, because I kind of want to be surprised. I like being surprised, but I also like making the videos. But I saw screenshots of like Nick Fury all over the fucking place, and I'm like, wow, okay, so he's okay, he's fine. Like, there's little to no consequence that's gonna happen to him at this. And then my other big complaint is that so Rhodey turns out to be a Skrull. Now, from what I've seen online, I don't think they fully tell us when, but he's wearing some kind of like
Well,
like
he's
a
wearing
gown,
the
like a
same
medical-
medical garb when he's being put into the MRI on in Civil War.
so that's what they're saying, right?
Yeah,
And to me, doing that, it takes so much away from everything that the character of Rhodey's been doing, specifically in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, how important he was in that series just as a black person in America. And then you make him that he was maybe a Skrull at that time. So all the shit that he talked about with Sam and all the like the message of the show, like it's not as it just takes so much away from it. It takes so much away from it. Like if Rhodey has been a Skrull since after that show, then I think I'm okay with him being a Skrull. But if it's before that, it just takes so much away from the
it's
message.
all going to depend on and then somebody mentioned this because he's having to be carried out when they wake him all up, and so
Yeah.
if he has no use of his legs, then we know
Right.
that it was probably right after he got put in that MRI because if he knows how to walk, I mean, because at the end of Civil War, Tony's trying to help walk with the braces until you got Stanley goes, "Is there Mr. Stark or Stank here?"
Yeah.
And then also so there's an Infinity War when all of his friends die, then that means nothing to him because he was a Skrull. Or like an Endgame when like they get back, like all that, it just makes it feel like it's so much meaningless. Like, I don't
But
know.
that's what happened in the comic books. You had a whole bunch of people that got kidnapped in the comic books that weren't around for half these other things. So.
Yeah,
Yeah, but they like when they made Agents of Shield and brought Coulson back. That made Avengers ending purposeless.
yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
Did y'all feel Martin Freeman needed to be in this?
I was glad to see him. I like him. So yeah, I think it was a really fun opening the show with him. I think.
I see because it was like he was at the beginning and at the end, and if
Yeah.
you watch, it looks like he was never on set with anyone. He
Oh, I
filmed
don't
all
think-
his
yeah.
stuff by himself, and it's
Yeah.
so I feel like if he's not engaging with anyone, what's the
Well, maybe
purpose?
I would say for the first part he was on set with that
Yeah.
scene, that big scene with the other
Yeah,
scientists.
I'm
or
just
the
thinking
other-
about at the end when she's going down, like Gaia's going down, letting each person out, and for some reason she goes around Everest and helps Rhodey
Yeah,
out first,
yeah.
and then
Also-
Everett's like having to turn to that direction, going, "Oh, hey,
Oh, valid point. Yeah.
Where were they keeping these people that they didn't die from radiation poisoning?
Hold on.
oh yeah, that's true." I mean, there was
Because they were in like the fallout of Chernobyl, and they were in Russia for a specific reason. But how could you keep all those humans there without them dying?
Okay, I want to ask you. So, like, that was the thing. Like, okay, so after they wake everybody up, and she's in the what Gaia is in the alleyway, and she meets up with what's her name, and let's have a better partnership than Ross.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Then they go down the basement, and there are all these people like in like blue covers lying down. What was that?
I'm assuming that just means that there were more Skrulls taking over these people.
Okay.
Yeah,
That the
Leonard
Skrull
Kim in the chat.
invasion is bigger than we know it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a million of them. Leonard Kim in the chat. My biggest issue is also undercutting a lot of what we've gotten with Rhodey in the MCU. I'm holding out hope that it's because it's not definite, but that's an issue in its own right. Yeah, I just think they really need to plan these things out. Of like,
Yeah.
they need to be clear as to like where things are happening, because that's unfortunately that's a big part of the story for a lot of fans, right? Especially people that are watching everything.
Yeah.
I can't imagine somebody just going into this show as their first Marvel thing, but I know they're out there.
Yeah.
So before we keep shitting on it, let's talk a little bit some of the good stuff. Anytime we had Ben Mendelsohn and Sam Jackson do a scene, like,
Yes.
all the performances I think were great. Like Sam Jackson, Ben Mendelsohn, Olivia Colman.
Olivia Colman.
She's such a fun character.
Yes, she's like the British Nick Fury.
Yeah.
But
even
with
cooler.
jokes.
But she'll go there. She cut that dude's finger off just
Yeah,
to prove
man.
that he was a Skrull.
Oh yeah, she's badass, man. I love that they brought her into the MCU. She's going to bring a lot.
Yeah, I think I think she's gonna do great. I feel like Emilia Clarke was a little bit underwhelming. Not just her character arc, not so much her performance, just her character arc.
It was just hard to buy in that the person that killed her mother, she's like, I know she's supposed to be is she a spy infiltrating them, or was she turning on her father and really with them? And now she's the most powerful superhero, or she's the most powerful character in the MCU.
No shit.
She has everyone's superpower. I mean, the Black Order, Groot. So what does that mean? Because we really haven't even defined Groot. So could she never die? What would she do if she exploded? Would like a little part of her grow?
Well,
I mean,
she already ages a lot slower than humans because she's a Skrull. So who knows?
plus she was hit with that thing twice.
Yeah, because the first one just to get the extremist power, like that's why she didn't die the first time.
I loved that they pulled the extremist from the comics at least and used that, because I know that was in Iron Man 3 too.
Oh.
It looks like they actually not manifested. Jeez, they actually perfected it better than the humans can. So it's like,
Yeah.
But so now, but we also know that even though with all those powers you could still die, because she blew a hole through Gravik that he could not recover from.
Yeah.
So at least we know that they can die somehow, but it takes the power of someone equal to kill them.
And
Well, that's kind of what Leonard came in the chat, maybe except for Kang. Kang's probably still supreme until he says otherwise. I mean, Kang's probably the more powerful one as far as the TV stuff right now, just because of his time manipulation stuff.
Well, not even that. They've already threw a new advertisement out for Loki season 2, which is coming out October 6th now. So,
Oh yeah,
I need to go back and rewatch that.
I will also say I think the Super Skrulls were a little bit underwhelming considering.
yeah.
Considering here, let me. I want to pull up the page from the.
Well, and not even that, given the fact that you're taking the Skrulls out of the one of the comic books we still don't have yet, Fantastic Four.
I mean,
look at that fucking page, man.
Yeah, that was badass.
Like, even if you don't fully like the fight at the end was so weird because, like, what? How does turning your arm into a Drax arm make you like the power of Drax?
The power of Drax.
Also, what is the power of Drax? Why would you choose that over the power of Thor?
To be invisible.
Or the like, yeah. No. I feel like a lot of the powers that they put on there were just like to make you big and buff, so that they could make Gravik that big Super Skrull.
Abomination. Yeah. He was Abomination. He was
Abomination.
The ears popped out.
Yeah, the little ears. Yeah.
I know, but for us old school fans, it would have been really cool to see a Super Skrull go full Fantastic Four.
Thank you.
Yes, that would have been. We would have been like, "Oh shit, they're making the reference. They're
or at
crossing
least
over."
have the like in the comic, like have the parts of their outfits turn into whoever they're turning into to make it more visible. Like, oh yeah, he's using the power of. I think when he did a kick, Gravik's shorts turned purple. Which like was Hulk, he's using the Hulk. I was okay.
That was their big Easter egg of like, if you pause and go through, you can identify every superhero that he becomes. But it's like at this point, you have the two strongest people in the MCU. I want to see a kick-ass fight, and it wasn't even.
Yeah, at that point,
it was mid, as the kids say.
At that point, they both would just be using the power of Captain Marvel, who we know is the strongest being right now, right?
Yeah, because you see him like armor up or basically get her. And I don't know how you would be able. I mean, you're taking the Tesseract power, so how is the Tesseract's part of her DNA and now is part of a Skrull?
Yeah. One cool thing that I think the fight did kind of highlight was that Gaia was using a lot more strategic powers. Like she pulled out the mantis to put him to sleep.
Yes,
And then
that
she
was a
did
great
she
moment.
did the ghost powers to like dodge out of the way of
And
cars and
shift.
stuff.
Yeah,
Whereas Gravik was just really kind of using all the strength,
muscle.
the muscle ones. Which I do want to say, Kingsley Ben-Adir, who portrayed Gravik, who's also in the Barbie movie as one of the Kens.
Oh shit, we haven't been able to see it, and I feel so bad.
Yeah, it's a very different performance in both films or in both the properties. But I think he was great. I think he was very threatening when he needed to be.
Yeah.
I just once again I think the story fully didn't serve them all the purpose.
What worked for me the most was one-on-one dialogue when it would just be like Talos and Fury talking. You know, they would have these moments where you could tell that they've been longtime friends, but they also like have different opinions on stuff.
And then like, dude, you kind of fucked me over with everyone. Like, right? Like,
yeah, you've been trying to find a home since the 90s, and
we know the home market is tough right now, Nick, but come on.
Well, not even that. I mean, during this whole time, I mean, and then at the end of Captain Marvel, she went with him to help him find a planet. So what about her stopped, and where did that fuck up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed the personal exchanges, the closeness, the dialogue in those moments, but the overall pieces didn't fit and made the pacing like all over the place.
There was 2 scenes with Don Cheadle and Sam Jackson. One at the restaurant where he fires him, and then Nick tells him, "Even when I'm out, I'm in," and then breaks that dude's arm. That was really cool. And then when Nick Fury kind of ambushes, it's when we discover that Rhodey's a Skrull. I guess we fully confirmed that he's a Skrull because he's taking a shower as a Skrull. What's her name? I don't remember the name of the Skrull who replaced Rhodey, but then he turns into, and he comes out, and Nick brings him like some liquid lunch, the bottle of Pappy Van Winkle. So, like that conversation was really good too, because then this is where you see like the Don Cheadle Rhodey that doesn't give a fuck. He's like, I don't care if you know, there's nothing you could do about it. Like, shows him the footage of Maria Hill, which led to Cubby Smulders getting credited in every episode that the footage showed up.
It must have been some hell of a paycheck to just go on screen and be shot.
I hope so.
But then why include the moment with her mother? Was that just to truly confirm that she was dead and not a Skrull?
Yeah, I think so.
Solidify that?
Which, that was great, because you could tell like how important they were to each other, kind of. Like Nick was supposed to look out for Maria Hill and vice versa.
Then who becomes his second now? I mean, he's not the head of S.H.I.E.L.D., but he's always had a supporting team, and Maria Hill was part of that.
It's time to bring in Abigail Brand, I think, right? Now that we're dealing with space stuff.
Well, yeah, I thought she died on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Well, but that's a different timeline thing, whatever.
Okay, yeah.
Wait, here's a question. For Gaia, who is the old? I mean, I don't know all the characters. Who's the old woman that she teamed up with in the last episode? It's like, she said, "Let's have a better partnership than Talos."
Olivia Colman. She's the leader. She's kind of like the Nick Fury
British
MI6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
Sonia Falsworth. I don't know if she's a character from the comics or not.
I didn't see that she was, but I kind of would love to see her put together the British Avengers.
Well, I mean, we've already got. The reason I bring that up is because we got the Thunderbolts coming out, so why not have another secret, team being formed?
Okay, it looks like she's an original character for the show, because I don't think I quick Google, I didn't see anything for the comics, which is great. Now we have all these kind of like different agencies, right? What's her name? Val has her own thing with the Thunderbolts now. Which I think is going to be very interesting. And now we have Sonya with the most powerful being in the universe, possibly, and probably all the other Skrulls that are left. Like maybe they'll work with her as they did for Nick Fury, with maybe some better reassurances.
Here's an interesting thought: what if Thunderbolt Ross, just because they're casting him again as Harrison Ford, is a Skrull?
Oh Lord.
See, I just think it's cooler to have a character that you've watched for 2 or 3 movies and then reveal he's a Skrull, and then you want to go back and go, what the hell happened during this time, was he really this character, or what happened? You know, that he made a difference as a Skrull. How did he affect the story in those? You know, I that's the element that's missing from this. There should have been a reveal in the 6th episode or in the final episode about someone who was a Skrull that we had no idea. That, I mean, the comic was so good in nobody knowing who was who. And in this, it was all told within a matter of minutes. Like, you know, as soon as Ross was dead, it was revealed he was a Skrull. You know, we kind of knew Rhodey was. It wasn't a big secret.
I do want to say, like, the comic itself is also very kind of weird and convoluted. Like, it's not the best comic. I think just comparing it to the show and the potential, that's kind of what we're talking about. The comic had a lot more interesting ideas, and obviously it had a lot more freedom, but that's kind of what we're talking about, because we just kind of read it, and the event itself is kind of a mess. But it's got so many fun moments that we kind of oversee a lot of that.
Yeah. Look at Hawkeye. During the series, Hawkeye had left Bobby. She crash lands in the Savage Land as part of the Skrulls. Mm-hmm. She wants to believe that she really is Bobby Morse, but she turns out to be a Skrull. And like Clint Barton is going insane in that. And then Bobby shows up again at the very end, but it really is Bobby that had been in space this whole time. So it's like, imagine that character just breaking.
You know who else was really fun to see in the show? Shooter McGavin.
I know, and they said that his character was specifically to be a parody of Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, it makes sense. He was really good. That's what's his name? Christopher McDonald.
Yes, Shooter McGavin
showed up as this like
Fox News
correspondent.
And it's like, people don't get it enough that Fox News is always parodied as like this right-wing fascist enforcing news network, you know, and it's still like a top-rated news source in fucking America. What a joke.
Another thing they could have and should have expanded on is there's a little montage of like when the world finds out that there are Skrulls in the world, where people just start killing suspected Skrulls. And they kill the Shooter McGavin,
and he turns into one on air.
They also kill like she was like the prime minister, of some European country that originally was a Skrull, but then they kill the human counterpart. Like, she dies, and then you see her, and she doesn't turn back into a Skrull.
Right.
So I guess she had already been replaced, or she was back to her. So like that kind of uncertainty, like that fallout from people, like their fears taking the worst of them, like that could have been an interesting idea to explore, maybe like what happens with the rest of the world. But this show wanted to be so big and so small at the same time that it doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
We're talking about world events here, and it needs to be bigger. It would be interesting to see, like, I know they can't get all the Avengers, or they can't get like certain team members, but it would be interesting to have a team that was sitting in, seeing the Skrull news come out, and then looking around the room at each other, and just that question of like, is anyone here fake? Is anyone here not who they say they are?
Yeah,
I think I love the comic just because it's a big dumb event with great art. All the, I think Spider-Woman pays off. Wolverine pays off in that, because he doesn't give a fuck if he thinks you're a Skrull, he will fucking kill you.
Yeah.
And then if you and he does it to only people who can come back.
let me show you why you like this event, Clay. Not so much this, but this next panel.
Fuck yeah.
There you go.
We know why you like the event, Clay.
Oh my god. But it's also the Savage Land, so it's like this cool fucking jungle that they can destroy and run around and fight each other.
Right.
But to see like a modern day Luke Cage fight a 70s Luke Cage would be great. They're just really, and to me, that's what comics are. They're fun. Like, I'll forgive some of the plot holes in the comics, but if the TV show isn't fun, then I'm not pulled in. I mean, Winter Soldier is a fun spy movie, and they figured out what works. In this, they don't use any of the elements of the Skrulls to intensify the tension of what's happening to everyone.
outside of the pilot, because the pilot did this really fun thing where like Nick Fury had been out on a walk throughout the day, and he encountered many different people while I believe he was in Russia. And then all those people, he saw them back at the event, so we could tell as watching the show, like, oh, the Skrulls have been keeping an eye on him the whole time he's been there, right? Because then all those same Skrulls, like there was a little girl that asked him for a ball or something, and then there was a couple sitting like that was really cool, but they never followed through with that. On like, I think the one of the highlights of the comic was that you were paranoid about not knowing who or what was going to be a Skrull next, and the show like presented that in the first episode, and then very clearly told you the rest of the way, like, oh yeah, this guy, these are all Skrulls. Like that's it. Like no more tension about that, anyways.
And I'm really like the best that Fury could offer them as far as a place to stay on Earth was Chernobyl.
I know.
That just like that just seems like a weird option when there's places that they could adapt and live that we don't live.
Why couldn't he find them like a new Asgard type of place where we have a bunch of displaced as Guardians living in fucking Finland or whatever?
Yeah, I mean they could integrate well. I mean, it just because that was another group of people just starting over, like
or if Skrulls are able to live in some of the places that humans can't, like we have a lot of deserts where they can build infrastructure, or maybe they don't need, or if vice versa, if they're adverse to the cold, like we have a whole continent that it's uninhabited by us because humans can't live there. I don't know if Skrulls can, but like there's places on Earth that
if they're unaffected by radiation, it seems like that they would be fine, because I'm assuming they're also eating things that are in that area.
Well, and they're able to grow their own crops, right? Because we do see that one scene where I think Beto, his name was Beto, the new Skrull recruit, like he finds this fruit from back there in their home planet. I don't know. I feel like there could have been a place. Nick Fury wasn't trying hard. He was just really excited with this Avengers side project.
Yeah.
You know the place that's there's a real place that they used for the game. Silent Hill. Silent Hill has all the steam rising up, and that place is in Pennsylvania, and nobody lives there because it has this giant gas underground. That would have been a cool place
because it's
to
haunted.
set it, because it would just have like a constant mist, you're not sure what you can see.
And it's so close relatively to like Washington D.C., and that could have been a like a thing of like, oh, Skrulls have infiltrated all the infrastructure in the U.S. because of that, like because of their proximity.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I just I feel bad for who played Gaia. What's her name?
Oh,
Emilia Clarke.
Yeah.
Man, she gets some great shows, some great roles, and the ending is always a bummer. Game of Thrones, Han Solo, and this.
Not everybody hates the Game of Thrones ending.
Who's the one? The writers?
I don't.
Yeah, I like
everything
is bad.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I don't think it's like as good as the beginning of the show, but I don't think it's like as bad as everyone else made it up in their minds.
I mean, I'm a guy who loves seeing pure vengeance, but like her character arc didn't lead to pure vengeance at the end. It felt like it was going to be, I'm going to free all these people and raise a government or raise a place that I would want to live in and that's safe and for everyone. But now I'm going to be just as bad as they are.
Well, sometimes you got to give them a little fire.
Do you think we'll see Gaia in the Avengers? Will we see in Kang Dynasty or Secret Wars maybe?
I think she'll be back for the next Avengers movies, like the ones that they announced. Maybe I think Brave New World would be a good place for her, but I feel like that'd be distracting. Maybe Thunderbolts, that would be a cool place for her to show up. But then I also feel like she could just take out all the Thunderbolts herself. So like,
yeah, no, it's got to be. I mean, whoever she fights has to be on a godlike level.
Well, I mean, they're talking about the fact with Thunderbolts, it might be Sentry who's the villain. So
I like that. I would love to see Sentry show up because he's such a broken hero.
Oh God, yeah.
And so, like, God, who would you have play him?
I thought they already cast him. It's
They've cast him?
yeah. It's what's his name from The Walking Dead? He's gonna be Asian. It's the Asian dude. Who?
Who?
Hold on.
Steve Young?
Sentry.
Yeah. Steve Yoon. Yeah.
Who's he playing?
I think he's supposed to be playing Sentry.
That's
Oh, I
insane.
don't remember. I didn't hear about
I've
that.
never heard that.
See if I can find it. Now that's what
Please, I want to know.
I do want to say, like, there was an interview after with Ali Salim, who's the director of the whole series, where he kind of talked about the Marvel fans and their expectations being very high. I think Clay's reacting live to some news, I think.
Well, it's on a site that I've never heard of called Covered Geekly.
Okay.
Okay.
And,
So it's not
let me just
confirmed,
share
but
my
there's
screen.
Yeah, I
There's a
think
lot
that's
of
what
rumors
Larry kept
he might be-
saying. It's more speculation than confirmation.
He's right. Yeah, but a lot of the rumors that he might be playing that character.
You know, he already plays a flying superhero that's very strong. At least he voices one as Invincible.
Wait, he's invincible?
He's the voice of Invincible. He's Mark.
I did not know that. Okay.
But in the interview, like the director was saying, like that.
Man, mine's locked up.
Oh, Clay, you're freezing up a little bit. Oh, let me see. Let's see if we can get Clay back in a second. Oh, were you? Oh, whoops. Were you trying to share something?
No, I wasn't.
No, Clay.
Yeah.
I think that's why he froze. Oh, I think the screen sharing is making you freeze up a little bit, Clay.
All right, I'm turning it off.
Okay, but we did see the headline. Interesting. But what I was gonna say is that the director talked about like how Marvel fans their expectations are weird, and Clay's stuck on this other thing.
Yeah.
Like he can't believe it. I mean,
I'm
play-
amazed because Sentry just seems like a old broken hero, and Steven Yeun's a young dude.
after you get hit with a bat a couple times in your head, you become a broken hero. Spoilers for The Walking Dead season 6, I think. 6 or 6.
That was like 9 years ago.
Yeah.
And Comet. Yeah.
But what I was gonna say is the director talked about like Marvel fans are expecting a lot and they want this to build the next thing. And for the most part, I usually agree with directors when they talk about that criticism that Marvel fans don't even know what they want themselves.
I know.
But at least
true.
give us a cohesive story. Like this one just kind of didn't. Yeah, I disagree. I feel like that's an easy escape route, and whatever. But I don't know. Sometimes I feel like in this time around, he is using the Marvel fans as kind of a scapegoat for the criticism where we've seen that there's some criticism like that's pretty valid, like they'll comment in the chat, or sometimes we want things to be good, which this show was not. Yeah, it's kind of a shame. So we got a few minutes left before I got to take off.
Yeah. Well, so, what do you think the ramifications of the show will be?
I think we're going to start seeing that within the Marvels when it comes out. So and that'll be the first thing I think comes out after this.
It'll be interesting to see. I don't know. I feel like a lot of these movies, and unfortunately, I think Blue Beetle's going to get hit by this too. Like, it's just not. I feel like these next few movies are going to kind of not do very well. For just everything that's going on, it's kind of like a big combination of everything that's going on. So. But hey, if that's what the studios need to get their head out of their asses, then maybe that's what needs to happen. Even if Jaime has to get caught in the middle of that, unfortunately.
That's a bummer because man, I really wanted to see a new young DC superhero movie.
It still might do okay. It might not be the levels that they're trying to hope for, but it still might be okay.
Yeah,
I mean, especially because Blue Beetle's got it against as well that DC has been kind of a shit streak too, like overall, like critically, right? Shazam wasn't very well received, and The Flash wasn't very well received or made money at all.
It did worse than Green Lantern. That is just fucking amazing.
Yes. So and then combined with like, I think the only movie that's done very well this year is I think Guardians and Across the Spider-Verse as far as superhero stuff. So we'll see how that goes. I'll probably still end up checking it out because I love Blue Beetle.
Oh yeah,
So, and he's got a cool sword.
Oh yeah.
that does look fucking cool.
Yeah. So, let's see. There's still a ton of implications for the MCU moving forward
Oh yeah.
after Secret Invasion. I think the problem is that there's too many implications that we don't know what they're gonna pick and choose from. Right? It's like you left all these things out there hanging, and I mean, comics does this all the time where they like present all these really cool ideas at the end of an event, and sometimes they never follow up on it
I know.
until like maybe 20 years later when somebody's like, oh, we should pick up on that one thing or do one of these series that addresses what would have happened back then. These little what if darks that are coming out, there was one for Loki and one for what was the one this week? Did you pick it up, Kyle?
I think
The
Which
what
one?
if? There was a what if this week.
No, I still haven't read it. I did see it.
I did see it.
I
It
don't
was
remember
what was it? Dark Gwen.
Oh yeah, Dark Gwen. Like, what if Spider-Man had died instead of
Yeah,
Gwen?
yeah.
Like those are fun. Those are fun ideas. Let's see, interesting. Like, yeah, we're exploring way more than we used to in the first three phases. That's true. I feel like it's kind of a double-edged sword because they had such a linear idea in the first,
Well,
leading up
hold on.
to Endgame.
Hold on. So, and I'm looking in the chat, and apparently, Delicom was mentioning that
Yeah.
listening to the Eternals left a huge celestial body in the middle of the ocean, and apparently that's going to be, if the rumors are true, that's going to be a big plot point for Captain America: Brave New World.
Also, did Fury have DNA from a Celestial? Like, I would have. That feels like
I don't know.
that feels like
No.
that's a good place to get DNA
Whoa.
from. I think.
Oh, I
if
think
they
I
had
feel like
DNA.
that alone would be like more powerful than
Yeah, good
everyone
point.
else.
Good point. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But if you're watching this, leave us some. Oh, do you have any final thoughts on Secret Invasion?
I mean, I'll just, I think it's true, but a lot of people are even saying I think we're in an age where, unfortunately, some of the movies I think that were supposed to be good or are good, we hope we're good, are going to get by. But we're in a superhero fatigue state. I mean, there's just too much shit coming out right now that it's.
If this had been a spy thriller, we wouldn't be talking about superheroes. If they had done a good spy thriller, we would have been like, oh, this is great. It had me on the edge of my seat. And now we're going into movies where we don't know who is a Skrull and who isn't.
Yeah.
But they didn't play any of that. I mean,
Yeah.
well, they hint that there are Skrulls that have taken over these people that are in body bags everywhere. But like, I would love to go into the Marvels questioning, is somebody a Skrull that's in the main cast? That would have been a better setup. I just kind of dig the idea of us just questioning for a while the Skrull War is going on, because right now we if we don't have Armored Wars, we're just counting on the Marvels to update us on Skrulls.
It'd be more interesting if Marvel hadn't shown us time and time again that each project doesn't really care what the other ones are doing, unless.
Hold on. There was another series that did this so much better. Picard season 3. That's what I was naming.
Interesting.
No, but I mean, because throughout the whole 10 episodes you're doing Picard, you're trying to figure out how much of the Federation did the Changelings infiltrate.
Who's the Skrull in the Federation?
Yeah, basically that's the way. I mean, and the Changelings, they're shapeshifters. So I mean, yeah, they did it, and they did it so much better than what this in 10 episodes than what this 6 episode did it right there. I just thought about that. Like I was thinking, I watched this story arc just recently, and yeah, Picard season 3.
Well, there you go. Read it. Watch Picard season 3 instead of this. So
Yeah,
I've heard it's great.
it's amazing.
yeah, I've heard good things too. So,
But if this doesn't fall over into the other series, then what was its real purpose?
Exactly.
yeah, that's true. So, all right, we'll see. Well, that's our review of Secret Invasion, the series as a whole. So thanks everybody that was in the chat. Leonard Kim, Della Common, Leonard Kim in the chat. We'll watch both. Both are great.
Yes.
That's true. I mean, if you have the time, watch everything. That's the only reason I don't watch more stuff, because I don't have the time. All right. Before we leave, did you guys read any one cool comic that you want to talk about this week? I know we didn't prep anything, but other than Hellfire Gala, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, that's gonna be next week. I would just say, hold on, let me find out what issue it was.
Here, Clay, what do you got in the meanwhile?
I got the Amazing Spider-Man number 30, just
Okay.
because.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a Scotty Young cover.
Oh,
Ed McGuinness
yes.
always brings his A game, but man, the art in this
Oh my
fucking
god.
blows me away. It's
No.
so good.
What I love about
Okay.
it is Peter ends up attaching himself to Doc's old arm skeletal, and apparently when he does the spine thing, he starts talking like Doc Ock. So you have Doc Ock Spider-Man versus Doc Ock, and they're both like, "Who are you calling adult?" And it's just like this whole thing. It's like, okay, this is kind of fun.
Yeah, it's Zeb Wells, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the only Marvel book that I've been reading that's actually been like, okay, this has been constant. I can deal with everything else. Marvel, it's just been like,
Oh, really? Because I hated all the stuff that just happened with the other, what's his name, Jacob or whatever the fuck that guy's name is that had kids with Mary Jane.
Oh, I was okay with it because I mean, it was. Well, we can get into that later, but no, that book I got that as a Christmas gift this past year, and that is an amazing.
Last Ronin.
Yeah, I just started reading it for Comic Book Club.
That hardcover is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here, I want to show some preview art from that book you guys were talking about.
I love this. This right here, basically,
Yeah, opening page.
Yeah, Octavius injects Norman with serum to make him the Goblin again, and when he turns around, he goes, "It's not happening." He goes, "What's going on? I gave you enough serum to turn an elephant." He goes, "Are you kidding? I have more serum in my body, and I've learned how to basically
Control it.
Exactly. Yeah, so
I just love the exchange between these two.
How did Otto get back to looking like Otto like this?
That I have no idea.
Because Ed McGuinness is brilliant, and I just love him.
Well, no, but he was the superior octopus a while back, like where he was very slim and like
it had
Peter.
something to do with I want to say it has something to do with Peter. No, oh god, what was the enemy? The clone of Harry.
Oh god, I don't know. I don't even know.
I can't remember.
Hobgoblin?
No. When Harry was like that, was the clone of Harry was like this demonic presence.
Oh, the guy with the caterpillars or whatever.
Yeah, it had to do with that and Mephisto because that was all part of.
That was a clone of Harry.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was Harry himself. I was like, okay,
no, it was a clone.
that makes more sense than what I thought was happening.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
No. Yeah. I mean, it's the only thing I really continuously with Marvel have kept up with, and I love the fact he's in a relationship with Felicia. I as much as I hate there not being the Mary Jane thing, I kind of like them exploring the Felicia Peter kind of dynamic.
I did.
I do love those dynamics.
I did pick up this book because it had a Hellfire Gala variant, which is funny. In the back, it says it tells you who the artist is, but then it also has a stamp that says waitlisted. Like they didn't get an invitation. Like Hellcat didn't get an invitation to the gala, but she's on the wait list.
Yeah.
Hulk has one too that he's also on the wait list. So they did it so they could give more of them outfits, I guess.
Oh, and I looked at the cover of Uncanny Spider-Man. It looks amazing.
Okay.
Oh yeah, the Nightcrawler.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I'm so excited.
I'm very excited. There's so many books. So I'm working on a video about all the things you can read after Hellfire Gala, like where you can find people. So
it's going to take an hour to talk about Hellfire Gala next week.
Yeah, we'll talk about that next week. I'll ask Josh to read it as well.
Oh my god.
I think he'll enjoy it.
Well, I mean, all I'm going to say is we're going to have a long discussion about Kamala because she's in that issue.
Oh yeah. So very cool. All right. Well, thanks everyone for watching this. Make sure to follow us. We got a bunch of things coming. Oh, the one thing I did want to recommend, if you want to watch a movie but don't want to support any of these studios, go watch the A24's Talk to Me. It's a horror movie. It's fucking amazing. A24 is an indie studio that has an agreement with SAG and the WGA, so they're not part of the struck companies. I got a review for that later on the channel. But man, there was one scene that was so scary that I had to step out of the theater.
Oh wow!
What?
And then I came back. So now, granted, my threshold for horror has diminished in the past decade or so because as I was walking in the theater, I heard the music for the new Exorcist film that's gonna come out,
Dear God.
and I didn't walk in. I just sat. I stood in the hallway until I saw that the trailer was done. Yeah. I saw the poster walking in there for the new Exorcist film. It's about twins, I think, this time, but they both look like the little girl did back in the film. I don't think so.
No, this isn't a recommendation, but this is one thing I wish I've almost thought about maybe making a trip up there just for the weekend. On September 26th, Kevin Smith is going to be doing a new release of Chasing Amy, and it's going to have a Q&A with Joey Lauren Adams there, and I'm like going, oh shit,
Dude! If Ben
okay.
Affleck wasn't there, I would have gone.
Huh?
If Ben Affleck was there, I would definitely be going.
Oh, you don't need Ben Affleck. If Jason Lee lives in Denton, I'm okay there. But I mean, just to see it on the big screen, but it's the 26th anniversary of Chasing Amy, and that would be awesome to see on the big screen again.
Affleck isn't busy right now, so he could make the trip.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, thanks everyone for watching. Let us know what you thought of Secret Invasion down in the comments, and of course, stay tuned. We got a lot more stuff coming in, and I'm just filling time until I can find the outro, and I got it. All right. Oh, and go check out. I did an interview with the creators of the upcoming book "Kill Your Darlings" on the channel a couple days ago.
Yeah,
Go check that out if you haven't seen it. Ethan Griff and Bob Quinn, really cool dudes that I know through the KLC press Discord. So yeah, go check that out. It's gonna be a really fun book. Whenever I can send you guys a copy to review, I'll send it over because I think you guys will like it. They called it they're marketing it as a mix of Narnia and Hereditary. So if you're familiar with those two, bro, I like Clay's face. Clay had the right reaction.
What?
It's also like a very dark twist on a never-ending story, kind of.
Ooh.
So yeah. So I think everyone here will like something different about it.
Okay.
As soon as we get like a review copy, I'll send you guys that over.
All right. Cool.
All right. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see y'all later.
All right. Peace.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
The most important thing in life will always be the people in this room. Right here. Right now. Salute me, familia. Salute.
Thanks everyone for watching.
Peter loves you.
Oh yeah. Clay.
Hell, Bebo.
Josh.
Simon Center, get the fuck out.